Good evening, students. Today I am back with my new video, and this time I am going to prepare the video on poets and pancakes. This is for class 12. Earlier this chapter was deleted from the syllabus, but now this time this is there. This chapter is written by Asokamitran, who was a Tamil writer. In this chapter, he is recounting his or remembering his days when he was working in a Gemini studio. Gemini Studio was a great a studio which was famous for film production. Okay, Gemini Studio was found in 1940 in Chennai by S.S. Vasan. So here he has written one book, Asokamitran, My Years with Boss, in which he has written about his all the experience, whatever his experience was there at Gemini Studio with his boss. His boss is S.S. Vasan. Okay, it talks about of the influence of movies on every aspect of life in India. In this book also he has written about the influence of movies on the people. The Gemini Studio located in Chennai was set up इसकी जो सेटअप किया गया था वो चेन्नई में सेटअप किया गया था इन 1940. Okay, it was one of the most influential film producing organization of India in the early days of Indian making film. Its founder was S.S. Vasan. The duty of Asokamitran in Gemini, तो वहाँ पे उनकी ड्यूटी क्या थी अशोकमित्रन की? He used to cut the newspaper clippings और उनको एक फाइल में पेस्ट करके he used to store them. Okay. The duty of Asokamitran in Gemini Studio was to cut out newspaper clippings on a wide variety of subjects and store them in files. Many of these had to be written out by hand. Okay, means most of the times he had to write with the hands. Although he performed an insignificant function, he was the most well informed of all the members of the Gemini family. The following is an excerpt from his book My Years with Boss. I have already told you who is boss here, S.S. Vasan, who was the founder of Gemini Studio. So let's start the lesson. Before we start the lesson, from here I have made one small question for you. That is, what was Gemini Studio famous for? Who was founder of it? And when did he find it? Okay, this is a question for you from here. So let's start the lesson. Pancake was a brand name of makeup material that Gemini Studio brought in truckloads. Here the lesson name is Poets and Pancakes, means about poets and about the pancake. Pancake was the brand name of makeup material. Okay, which was used in Gemini Studio at that time. Greta Garbo must have used it. Miss Gohar must have used it. Vajanti Mala must also have used it. But Rati Agnihotri may not have even heard of it. So these are the names of the heroines at that time: Greta Garbo, Miss Gohar, Vajanti Mala, Rati Agnihotri. I think Rati Agnihotri and Vajanti Mala, to many of you have heard. So why he has told that Rati Agnihotri had not heard about it, but others have used it? Because Rati Agnihotri came after these actresses, and at that time the use of pancake was banned or stopped. ठीक है, उस टाइम तक इसका जो पैनकेक है उसका यूज़ होना बंद हो गया था, इसीलिए रति अग्निहोत्री ने इसका नाम नहीं सुना था. ठीक है. सो हेयर यू कैन मेक वन क्वेश्चन, व्हाई डिड द पोएट से दैट रति अग्निहोत्री डिड नॉट नो अबाउट पैनकेक? Okay. The makeup department of the Gemini Studio was in the upstairs of a building that was believed to have been Robert Cleve's stables. ये कहा जाता है कि जो जेमिनी स्टूडियो का मेकअप डिपार्टमेंट था, ठीक है, वो एक बिल्डिंग के टॉप पे था, अपस्टेयर्स टॉप पर था, जहाँ पे रॉबर्ट क्लीव अपने टाइम में रुका करते थे. रॉबर्ट क्लीव कौन थे? ही वॉज द ब्रिटिश गवर्नर ऑफ बंगाल प्रेसिडेंसी. ठीक है. ही वॉज ऑल्सो द फाउंडर ऑफ ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, ईस्ट इंडिया रूल इन बंगाल. ओके. सो ही वॉज वेरी फेमस पर्सन एट दैट टाइम. तो वहीं वहीं पे उसी बिल्डिंग के ऊपर टॉप पे ही जो है वहाँ पे जेमिनी स्टूडियो का क्या था, मेकअप डिपार्टमेंट. A dozen other buildings in the city are said to have been his residence. For his brief life and even briefer stay in Madras, जब वो मद्रास में रुके हुए थे, ठीक है, उस टाइम की बात चल रही है कि रॉबर्ट क्लाई सीम्स टू हैव डन अ लॉट ऑफ मूविंग. यहाँ पे इधर उधर घूमना फिरना, बिसाइड्स फाइटिंग सम इम्पॉसिबल बैटल्स इन द रिमोट कॉर्नर्स ऑफ इंडिया एंड मैरिंग अ मेडन. She married a girl here in St. Mary's Church in Fort St. George in Madras. Okay. So this was a relation of the makeup department of Gemini Studio with Robert Clive. That their makeup department was in the building where he used to stay for some time. Okay, now see, the makeup room had the look of a hair cutting salon. Here we are going to read more about the makeup room. Okay, so here you can write and explain the makeup room. Okay, the detail in detail. So what is there? The makeup room had the look of hair cutting salon. Hair cutting salon के तरह ही उसका बिल्कुल प्रॉपर लुक था, जैसे लाइट्स वगैरह लगी होना, मिरर्स वगैरह लगे हुए थे. ठीक है, with lights at all angles. Number 2, around half a dozen large mirrors. Number 3, okay, they were all incandescent lights. Incandescent lights means shining lights. Okay, it means you can see that how much light and heat it was producing, because mirror was there, lights were there. So you can imagine the fiery misery of those subjected to makeup. मीन्स जिनके फेस पे बहुत ज़्यादा मेकअप लगाया जाता था जब उनके ऊपर लाइट्स वगैरह डलती थी, मीन्स एट द टाइम ऑफ शूटिंग. ठीक है. सो देयर वॉज अ बर्निंग फायरी मिजरी. दैट इज़ द रीज़न इट इज़ यूज्ड. पेन, fiery pain they used to face. Those who are subjected means those who got this makeup. Okay. The makeup department was first headed by Bengali, number 1, who became too big for a studio and left. After some time he left the place. Then he was succeeded by a Maharashtrian. Afterwards the head of the studio was a Maharashtrian who was assisted by a Dharwad Kannadiga, okay, and Andhra. He was the Andhrian person. The Andhrian person was the person from Andhra was assisting him. Not only the person from Andhra, from a Madras Indian Christian and Anglo-Brahmins and the usual local Tamils, they all were there who were working there. All this shows that there was a great deal of national integration long before AIR and Doordarshan began broadcasting programs on national integration. Means before Doordarshan started the programs on national integration, राष्ट्रीय एकता के ऊपर, इससे पहले कि दूरदर्शन या AIR प्रोग्राम्स बनाए, उससे पहले ही यहाँ जेमिनी स्टूडियो में we could see the national integration because the people from different state were working together here. Okay, so write the question here. How can you say that there was a great deal of national integration in studio? This gang of nationally integrated makeup men could turn any decent looking person into a hideous crimson hued monster. Decent means normal looking person into a hideous means ugly, crimson means red, hued means colorful, colored monster. Okay, means they can totally change the person, okay, with their makeup. Okay, with the help of truckloads of pancake and a number of other locally made potions and lotions. These are also the makeup items. So potion is a one liquid material. Okay, so write down one question: how did the narrator put a satire on the makeup artists at Gemini Studio? Okay, this is a style only, means they were doing the makeup so that the person could be um, looking beautiful, but here he had put the style by saying that they were making a good looking person a monster. Okay, those were the days of mainly indoor shootings, and only 5% of the film was shot outdoors. Circle it. Okay, I suppose the sets and studios light needed the girls and boys to be made to look ugly in order to look presentable in the movie. Means they had to get extra makeup so that they could look pretty, beautiful, smart in front of the camera. A strict hierarchy was maintained in the makeup department. See, hierarchy was there. Hierarchy, we know that in a SST you used to say no hierarchy, that grandfather, then father, then his son, then another one. They were doing the same job like that. So here, how the hierarchy was there, that main, the main person, then assistant, senior assistant, okay, then junior assistant, okay, then office boy. This was the hierarchy. Like main person was doing the makeup of main actors, senior assistant was doing with the comedians and those you can say the second actors. Okay, junior assistant were doing of the other people like crowd, you can say comedian and all. Okay, then office boy was doing for the crowd. Okay, now let's be read. A strict hierarchy was maintained in the makeup department. The chief makeup man made the chief actors and actresses ugly. His senior assistant, the second hero and heroine, second hero and heroine is side hero. Okay? The junior assistant, the main comedian, and so forth. The players who played the crowd were the responsibility of the office boy. Now at number 3 we are going to read about the office boy. See, first of all we read about pancake, which is a material. Then afterwards we started reading about makeup department. Then now in makeup department we are going to read about one boy. His name who is known as office boy in the studio. Even the makeup department of the Gemini Studio had an office boy. On the days when there was a crowd shooting, you could see him mixing his paint. Here paint is makeup material in a giant, means big vessel, and slapping it on, putting it on the crowd players. The idea was to close every pore on the surface of the face in the process of applying makeup. Okay, he wasn't exactly a boy, he was in his early 40s. Means he was known as office boy, but he was not a boy. He was his age was nearly 40. Having entered the studios years ago in the hope of becoming, why he had entered the studio to become a star actor or a screenwriter, डायरेक्टर, लिरिक्स, आपको पता ही आमतौर पे जब कोई जाता है मुंबई या फ़िल्म स्टूडियो, फ़िल्म लाइन में जाना चाहता है, तो वहाँ पे मोस्टली कोई एक्टर बनने, एक्ट्रेस बनने, राइटर्स वगैरह बनने जाते हैं, कोई डायरेक्टर बनने जाता है, कोई राइटर बनने जाता है. ओके, लेकिन कभी कभी क्या होता है, देयर फेट डज नॉट वर्क. ओके, उनकी किस्मत काम नहीं आती और उनके मतलब ये किस्मत उनका साथ नहीं देते, एंड दे हैड टू do some other work. So he was also like that. He had come there to become a writer or actor. Okay, but he did not get the chance, and he started doing this work and became office boy. Okay, so here are 2 3 questions for you. Firstly, write down the question on page number 58. How was the strict hierarchy followed at makeup department? Next question is, why did the makeup artist do heavy makeup of actors? Then on page number 59, write the question, who was office boy? What was his duty? Why was he upset? We will continue our chapter tomorrow. Today I will finish here only. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me any question by giving comments on in the comment box. Bye students.